welcome to the Lynn and Scott show and all our friends.
It feels weird because we do this before show thing. I feel like we're already halfway through the show.
I know, right?
Let's pick it up there.
Yeah. So
welcome to the halfway point.
Yeah.
So to sum up, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. It's been a great show. And
it's almost like if you could invite people to the behind the scenes, then they would know what they're in for here. It's like a membership.
Some of us count on our reputations in public. We can't show that shit out there.
No taken.
This is a family show.
Yeah. Family show.
Crazy one.
Hey, you guys. No, thanks so much for being here. I like the topic that we have for today.
What was the topic again?
The topic is coming up, but before we do that, I want to take a serious note here. And we've got some of our U.S. family over in Israel right now. And this is 53 members of the U.S. that Ray Higdon and Jessica Higdon are there. And then the Detroit Lions linebacker, Alex, his parents are there. And they're the church group. All of them are 53 from Naples, Florida. So I'd like to take a minute and just go ahead and send some prayers and thoughts and hope that they get home safe. Right now, what I do know is that we don't know when they'll be able to fly back. That I can say. So,
right.
Nor do we want them flying back right now. So, just keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And Scott picked the topic today, which I think is good to. And Alan, thank you for coming here. We appreciate you having you here. Sometimes laughter is something we need to have our sense of humor, to help. And so then it's great to have Kellen here. She's going to be our center square today. And I think you guys will figure it out. If not, you might guess, or if you don't even guess it, you might just think whatever. So she's here to help light, the softer side of things.
Use
here.
humor.
To use humor. Yes.
So some of you know, I'm taking improv classes now.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But after you do that, you can do all the other classes at the comedy club. So I'm going to do stand-up comedy because people love to laugh at your tragedy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk all about my dating life.
There you go. That's a lot of material there.
You have to make fun of it. Like I learned very young to just you can't take it personally. You can't stress about messing up or making mistakes. You just need to laugh at it. And it's been that's one thing in my life as a child I did correctly.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. So Scott, take it away.
Well, first of all, thank all of you for being here once again. Alan, thanks for joining us. Once again, you couldn't come up with an excuse not to show up, so you had to be here. So thank you. All of you, appreciate all of you every week, guys. Always missed you guys last week. Unfortunately, I was just on the road. It was just too much going on. And I tried to do a show from a moving car going through the Everglades on last Thursday. That went really well. I want to thank my other partner, Mary Kay, out there. She had to hold it together. But keeping your sense of humor is just, it's not just about laughing at people. People think, everybody says, oh, I got a great sense of humor, and they spend a lot of time laughing at people. The real test of a sense of humor is how you look at yourself in your own life and your own actions. And listen, life has got a lot of serious shit. I've been through a lot of serious stuff. And I would never say that addiction or mental health or any of that stuff is anything that should be ignored or downplayed. However, given the fact that there's not a human being out there that I've met so far that is walking around as a perfect human being who doesn't have some sort of proclivities that take them in the wrong direction or some sort of mental health thing, stress or whatever it might be, or an addiction even. Listen, we're all imperfect, and it's laughing, it's enjoying those imperfections, keeping our sense of humor about that keeps life worth living, that makes it bearable, and again, it's great to go out and laugh at a comedian, but when you can look inside yourself and kind of laugh at your own imperfections, and not laugh at them in a way that's just kind of I think laugh at them in a comfortable kind of, oh well, here I go again kind of way, you know. So for me, that's really important, that I keep my sense of humor. That whether it's because of a mistake I'm making or me dealing with something in the wrong way or doing something the wrong way, that I could kind of roll with that and just say, oh, well, there goes Scott again. And it just makes life a lot easier. And too many people are too freaking serious these days.
Well, for somebody
Rex, what do you want to say?
flawed, is someone as seriously flawed as you, it's important to keep your sense of humor. For the rest of us, you can get through life totally serious and be okay.
I know. Scott, I think I'm in the wrong place because, as far as I know, I am perfect.
Wow.
Don't ask my wife for her opinion, but my opinion. You know?
All right. So, Lynn, change the name. Change the topic of the show. We're going to move on to hold on to your delusions. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to go with that. Screw the humor. We don't need humor as long as we can all just believe. Whatever.
That Scott's okay, right? Or not okay.
But wait a second. There's an important point to be made here. And that is, it's okay to say you're flawed as long as you don't believe it. As long as it keeps you humble and open. But if people sit there and go, you know what, I get a lot of shit that it sucks, then that's another rabbit hole. So if you believe that whether you believe you were created, because some people believe they were created in sin, and other people believe they were created perfect. Other people believe everything is divine. So the question becomes is, what do you want to assert? And what do you want to affirm? It's fine to say there are things that I'm working on, but it's another thing to say I'm flawed when you might want to be saying, you know what, I work perfectly well. I just don't always get the results that I want. I'm learning how to better improve that, because everything that comes out of our mouth is essentially an affirmation. So I would say let's be aware of what we are affirming.
Well,
I like that a lot. I like that because it's easy to take that stuff and look at. I don't look at his imperfections as being a negative. I think that's what creates who I am. If we were all perfect, we would all be named Barry, and that would be it. And we would just all be Barry, and nothing. We would all have that perfect New Jersey accent. We'd all just be right there. No,
if only you knew. If only you knew.
But we are all named Barry. We just don't go by Barry because it would be confusing.
Yeah, because we got Barry White, and then we got Barry this and that.
It's the imperfections, the stuff that takes us from perfect norm to wherever we go, that makes us who we are. And that's why I fall in love with people. That's why I like people. That's why I like me. Because, hell, sometimes I never know what I'm going to do next. And it's just awesome. And that's so imperfections. I didn't mean to say that as laughing at my imperfections or even my screw-ups as they're a bad thing. They're great things. We can laugh at
this. I mean, this is humorous. Or I mean,
think John Horton is perfect. Oh,
well, his lighting's current.
I'm out. I'm done. That's it.
John Horton got them out of a bad mortgage deal yesterday. That's why, right?
So easy.
His lighting is perfect.
We're gonna craft a Dr. Seuss book called Horton Has a View.
Real quick, just so before he leaves, I am a firm believer in I can mess with myself. I'll make mistakes. I made him here. I'll make him there. But when you can bounce back from that, but when you surround yourself with the right people, not because Colt Halloran just said I'm a perfect individual, but thank you, Colt, very much. You surround yourself with people and I don't want to say I can't say you don't care about yourself, but you can be yourself. I mean, you get to a certain age, you've been in your business long enough, you be honest with people. You be honest. Here's who I am. Here's what I do. I'm going to screw up, but I'm going to be the same guy you met a couple of weeks ago. Colt's a great guy. Awesome business partner. He jumped on today because he called me earlier and said, I want to be on the Lynn and Scott show. I want to see who's out here. I want to see what you guys have to do. So really, it's surrounding yourself with the right people makes you better than what you actually think you are. And you're going to mess up. Don't be afraid if you mess up.
Yeah.
Messing up makes you more, I think it makes you more vulnerable, but it gives you more credibility.
And human.
More human too.
Yes,
Yeah,
more
we-
human.
Human.
He's your business partner. He really wanted to log on to see if you had any expensive artwork hanging in your house.
No.
Oh my God, Mr. Barry.
Barry.
So let me get down off my high horse now, since I was put up there by one of you. The thing that one of my favorite quotes I remember years ago was saying that life is too important to be taken seriously. That's been one of my go-tos for many times, because so many people in this life, which is why I think the show is so important to talk about this topic. If people get so caught up in trying to get things right and do the best thing and be perfect, and everything goes wrong, like John was saying, there's a panic that sets in, or an even more than what's that is self-flagellation of like judgment, like, oh, I screwed up, oh, how bad I was. Rather than what you're saying is like, pick yourself up again, move forward again. The thing about it is life is too important to be taken seriously. Plus, as another quote I remember vividly is like, you won't get out of this alive. So why not make the best of this? Make it fun, make it joyful, I mean, frankly, was it the greatest regrets of the dying is they didn't love enough, they didn't have fun enough. It wasn't about the houses they got, it wasn't about the cars they got, it's about the connections they made. So for me, life is about the connections I make. It's about the joy and the celebration and the fun, because it's what makes life worth living. And yeah, we have things in the world that can make us be very serious and very upset, but if we still keep the joy going inside, because that's a beacon of light for other people. So for me, being lighthearted rather than delusionally thinking that we're better than somebody else, being lighthearted is the best way of living life. It's also better for your heart too, by the way.
Absolutely. I love that, Barry. Love that, Barry.
I'm going to give Barry a heart.
Yes, Barry's got a big heart.
Thank you.
Mr. Allen.
No, I mean, I think it's a great topic, and I think we do have to keep our sense of humor, and it helps us remember things. And if you think about it, a lot of the challenges you had earlier, and it was not funny at the time, but now you can sit around and tell humorous stories about it because we got through it.
Yeah.
You know, a simple one that you guys might laugh at is, I've been a martial artist since the 80s. And definitely I cannot remember every martial art class that I've been in or that I've taught. But one memorable one was, and I was a black belt at this time. I'd come back from Korea and I was training with Dennis Dallas in Helena at his school. And we were doing some sparring, and I was sparring a yellow belt. He was the father and he's there with his son. He knew one kick, and that was to raise his leg straight up as hard as he could. That was about the only control he had too. So we're just playing around, and we're not going full contact. We're just going light hits. And I launched a kick up toward his head, and I stopped it right short. And as I did that, he did that one kick that he knew, and he raised his leg up as fast and hard as he could, hit me in the groin, and picked me off the floor. And I wasn't wearing groin protection.
Ouch.
So the next second, I'm laying on the floor going, and he's like, I'm sorry. And Dennis walks over and looked down at me. Yellow belts gets you every time. And chuckled and walked off. We got to be able to just laugh at whatever life brings. And again, those sometimes, even if it's not as funny in the moment, we laugh about them later, and we keep our sense of humor and drive on and learn from it. And we can share those experiences and get a chuckle out of other people sometimes too.
Oh, it's an instant bungee, Dan says.
BG.
There you go. I said bungee. There you go. See, I read wrong sometimes, and I got to laugh about it. There you go.
Yeah. He went falsetto real fast.
Exactly. Yes. I was singing like Barry Gibb in the Bee Gees.
And far from Barry White, that's for sure.
Real quick, I think exactly what you said, Ellen. First of all, if you get hit in the nuts, you're done. I don't care if you're in third grade or you're 90 years old. You get hit in the balls, it's nights out. But when you can laugh at yourself, I think what you find being in the sales business, people can relate to you better. If you're professional in what you know, but you also know, and you can relate and be funny. I call it the Sybil theory. You have to have a different personality. But once you're relaxed and have fun with people, especially in this environment, people will gravitate towards you. People want you. They don't want your business. They want you. I mean, what you did getting hit in the nuts, man, that's crazy. By the way, I'm wearing a brown belt. Means nothing in your world. I'm just wearing a brown belt on my jeans. But I think when people realize they get along with people because it's a personality in the sales world, that goes a long way rather than, what do you know? Where'd you go to school? What degree do you have? Do you get along with me? People want to gravitate towards people that are like themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted to point out, Alan, you said something really cool too. It's like, it's those moments that create our best stories. It's those moments that we really need to have our sense of humor, because later those are the things that give us flavor. Nobody wants to hear the story about the time I went to impress a girl and I pulled up in my car and I walked across the restaurant parking lot and she was waiting outside the restaurant. I took her arm and took her in. There's no story there. But if I told you the truth about what happened was I rented a car to impress her, not realizing there was a big Avis sticker on the back of the car where she was looking at the car. Then I walked across the parking lot and it was February and there was ice in Syracuse, New York on the parking lot. And I was wearing all my motorcycle leather because I wanted to impress her. And leather, when it gets that cold, becomes very stiff. So I couldn't walk right. I slipped on the ice and I landed on my back. And because I had all this leather on, I couldn't get up. I was like a turtle. And this was my impression to impress this girl. And all I wanted to do was crawl back to my car and get away.
To the Avis.
But I couldn't get up. So she had to come over and help me to my feet. But it was actually Therese. So it was ended up being a good thing. But all I'm saying is that's a good story. Nobody wants to hear a story about, hey, it got up and everything went perfect. You know, these are our story. I mean, Rex, you tell stories all the time. I mean, you got to have some things you throw out there that are just like, maybe at the time you'd think this is horrible, right?
You're asking or you're stating?
I'm assuming.
Okay. Well, first, speaking about getting hit in the balls or knocked in the nuts, I think Helen has something to say about that. But actually,
you're paused. You muted.
It's because the dog was barking. I'm pleading the fifth.
In the field of NLP, one of our favorite quotes is, if you're going to look back on it and laugh in 20 years, why wait? Why not just do that now and get into living right at the moment instead of waiting 20 years to do something different. And there are approaches and there are techniques. I hate that word, but there are ways of doing that. Somebody asked me today in an interview. They said, "What do you do to be inspired and motivated?" And I said, "I don't do anything." And they were like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, think about it this way: if you learn to juggle, and you went through all the time conditioning yourself that you juggle, then after a while you're a juggler. You can pick up the balls and juggle." So I don't necessarily practice being inspired or motivated. That's my default position because of 50 years of conditioning. That's the habit that you cultivate, is to be positive, to be optimistic, is to live your life. Otherwise, you're always in the conscious competent stage trying to struggle and get over things. At some point you have to fall back on your training, essentially. As they would say, when the going gets tough, you fall to the level of training. So if you've been trained well, if you've practiced, rehearsed, and laid down the neural pathways, then those things become a habit for you. Now, does that mean that there aren't times when I'm not gobsmacked by something and I'm like, whoa, what was that? But moments later, those habits kick back in, and it's that aspect of the training, because if you have bad habits that are automatic and reliable, don't you want good habits that are automatic and reliable? And having a sense of humor, or being inspired, or being motivated, or being able to get over problems, or be able to connect with people, or find love, or the good in all that, those are all things that people can cultivate, and most of them won't.
Right.
So we'll talk about, laugh in 20 years, and I go, well, I wish I could, but you don't understand how I've been struggling for all these 20 years. Well, if that's the attitude, you're not going to look back, a day later and go, that was funny. You have to, you just got to kind of dive in and let life, be, and enjoy yourself and do what you can to have fun and not take things so seriously. So,
and that's going to happen when you allow it.
What?
Rex, you touched. I was going to lean into something that you just touched on. I wanted to ask you about it.
Okay.
There's a lot of people, not a lot of people. There's a great many people who.
There are many great people.
There's great many people and many great people, and let's make people great again. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm fighting for. But there's a lot of people out there that say, I'm just miserable. It's just the way I am. It's just the way I am. They look down on things. Everything bothers them. They don't find humor. Can that be changed? Or, obviously, as long as they're going to keep that belief and that limiting belief, it's not going to change. But how do you tell people you have the option to change that?
Well, I don't know that it's your place to tell them that they have the option to change that.
Well, if they ask you, though, they might ask.
But what I'm getting at is they need to become aware of the fact that they need to change. Kind of like, if you don't know that the shoe is too tight, you're not going to do anything about it. And I can go, hey, I think your shoes are tight. You go, well, I don't know. There are people who are so proud of their problems. They sit there and go, oh, you don't know how screwed up I am. Boy, I have problems. I have for 50 years, but I haven't slept in 600 years. You just don't have a clue. They wear all of their troubles and all of their sadness and all of their injuries as a badge of, look at me, I'm a loser. I am the biggest loser. Or I'm the biggest victim. Witch hunt, witch hunt. And the thing is that it's sad. But trying to tell other people, hey, you need to change, I don't think it's the thing to do. It's find a way to invite them without saying this is what you need. Because if you say it's what you need, most people will go, well, don't tell me what I need. Who are you to say that? But when they get to that place where they go, I don't know what to do, then you can say, well, are you open to exploring some other options?
It's like you can't lead a horse to water, but you can offer them an option. And
a pencil must be lead.
Would that also mean
I love that.
They're not engaging? They're not engaging with the right people. They need to change their focus on who they're hanging with.
Well, that's only if they want to change, though. I mean, Rex is right. If they don't want to,
Rex,
if they celebrate their issues, you can't change that.
Yeah, some people, that is their identity, and it's working in its own way for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
whether they're the victim or this or that, that's the life they're leading, the stories they're telling, and it's working for them. Right. That's why they're not changing.
Well, and that's why I love Rex, and that's why I try to follow what Rex does, and that's the sense that, like back in the day, it's like I always wanted to help people, and I always just, when I had the answers or the solution or this and that, and I've learned a lot of different coaching and all this stuff, I'd be so eager to help people. But what you realize is that people don't want you to go around and fix them. So I've learned that you've got to meet people where they're at. So you don't preach them. You don't preach God to them. You don't coach them. You don't do this, and that. And I've got to say that I because of Rex and his friendship over the last couple of years now, going on 3 years, that it's really helped me to just, people come to me for advice and this and that. And just finally, this one person I was talking to the other day, I finally just had to take it to a level to say, well, you need to pray about this. And she goes, Lynn, I didn't even know you prayed or whatever. I mean, I coached her every different way. And I just said, look, you need to pray about this. She goes, well, I didn't know. And I was like, well, I had to take you to a different level that you hadn't been in this coaching with her because she's asking for advice. But I was just glad to say that I don't personally try to take what I feel or my philosophies onto anybody, because that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here for them to listen to them and things like that. And again, that's what we try to do with our show, is we're not here to take our beliefs and put them onto anybody. We're here to give you different vast of ways to look at everything. And I find it more attractive to find people to speak on different things, but not to force it. And so I love Rex's way of teaching, that's more attractive to me than to have somebody, feel like we're in some kind of a cult and this is how we all must feel or think.
Yep.
Wait,
All right,
is
here we
it
go.
this?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do that. Whenever we see anybody, go, hi,
Yeah.
how are you?
Yeah.
Anyway, my point is this, and thank you for saying that. Flexibility or resilience, the ability to shift or to know what is needed in a moment is really important. And so there are those people who follow rules, and whatever rule they learn, then they have one way of doing things or two ways of doing things. And in doing that, they really don't have many choices. If you've got three or four, then you've got a little bit of resilience. So, and analogies always will break down. Any example, or we'll have a counter example. It will have something, where it doesn't fit. So there are times when people are in quicksand, and if you said, "Well, do you really want me to help you?" They might have sucked under by that time. I mean, you can reach out and help people too, without necessarily asking. Some people are in that moment need a rescue. If somebody's, overdosing, you give them Narcan or whatever you do, you do life-saving measures to just to go, well, do you really want me to treat you?
Right.
Yeah.
You have
So,
a DNR.
but the point is wisdom is knowing when those moments
Right.
are the moments to do those things. And sometimes, as we all are as people, we make mistakes. Doctors do things thinking they're saving lives, and the life isn't saved, or they've caused an injury when they didn't intend to. I mean, those things happen.
Right.
But for the most part, when it comes to other people on a social basis, I try to avoid as much as possible telling people that they have to live my version of reality. I might think my version of reality is far superior to theirs, but if I come off that way,
Yeah.
they're not going to have anything to do with it, because they're going to say, well, who are you? And well, you're haughty. So it's far better to be humble and to ask questions and to help loosen their hold on what it is their problems are, so that they decide, well, maybe I should, find some help, or maybe I should do something, or, because when they come to the decision rather than it being forced on them, it's probably a far better decision.
Oh, for sure.
I agree. I mean, I'll be honest. Every once in a while, I'll meet somebody who maybe has got such a really bad track on things that are going on, or that they're in that misery, or just in love with their struggle. And I'll take that as a personal challenge to try to at least get a smile out of them, do something. And every once in a while, I'll do that. And I think I do it to kind of humor myself a little bit. Obviously, you're right, Rex. If somebody's not asking for it, with the exception of somebody who is, about to jump off a bridge or overdose. But I think we influence more people by just creating an energy that is our energy bubble, and people will either be attracted to it and see it and like it, or they won't. And that's probably the best thing we can do, is attraction rather than promotion, rather than going out and promoting ourselves. But anyway.
Oh, back to me again.
Why not?
I feel like you wanted to say something. Did you
He
want
had
to
a
say
thoughtful
something,
look
Barry?
on his face.
Been
He
in my
did.
business.
You're minding your own business. You can't do that on this show.
You were contemplative.
So
We thought you were feeling a little negative. Now you got to tell some knock jokes.
No, it's just an alkali pH thing. It's not negative. It's a different direction entirely. And what crossed my mind was just about, since I'm in the relationship business, and one of the things I'm aware of the dating apps and dating sites, one of the biggest things that you can do to make your dating profile look better is have pictures where you smile, where you actually look lighthearted, not a full smile, because some of the pictures are scary when they smile like that. But an authentic, but an authentic, yeah, thank you, Rex, for the modeling of that. But being authentic, just having an authentic smile in your pictures, it becomes, I don't know what the numbers are, but it's going to be at least 10 times more attractive than when you look there very stoic and serious in your pictures. So even that component can make a difference.
Kellen,
So
no more duck faces.
Make sure I'm holding the big fish.
Okay, now you can hold a different topic.
Kellen, when you go on Plenty of Fish, that's not what they're talking about. All right? I'm just saying.
Oh,
Nicely done, Scott.
that explains everything.
Indeed. So, but one was good. The point about that ultimately is the fact is that when we go through life, you know, you walk into stores, just walking around your neighborhood and going to the grocery store or going to retail places or just even going to business. Look at all the faces. See how many of them are so serious and so down and so down. If you walk in just looking pleasantly happy, not beaming, not like looking so different, but just looking pleasant around people, it can be contagious. You can let people they can lighten up a little bit. Most people forget to smile. I mean, the joke about people having the resting bitch face,
Yeah.
that is because people have gotten a habit doing that, like Rex was saying.
Can you say that one more time, Barry?
Resting bitch face. RBF.
RBF.
Yeah. You haven't heard that term before?
No, just your accent. I loved it.
I haven't got an accent. You guys do.
But you also include resting duck face.
Yeah.
All these women out there who
That's Kellen. No, that's Kellen, I think.
I never do duck face.
I know my kids do that duck face thing. They do that the whole thing of
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So but again,
Yeah.
get back on topic. Attention to reel it back in again. Get back on topic.
We're like a bunch of ADD kids. You can't get something shiny out there and not expect us all to react. All right.
Yeah.
Well, how do you teach your sense of humor about stuff?
Helen, take a picture, send it to me. We'll post it on here.
Okay.
Please continue, Barry.
If I remember where I was, damn. No, but the thing is that we oftentimes notice, we don't even notice for ourselves sometimes. So you look in the mirror and go, damn, I'm looking pretty downward. Like, why not lift ourselves up? And physiologically, I know this from experience doing this workshops, is if you spend your time looking down and you slump shoulders, you can start feeling depressed. You start looking up and lift your eyes up and you start smiling, you can change your physiological state. You can actually feel better about yourself. So you can actually change your state by acting like you're happy, like, fake it till you make it. You can actually do that with smiling. So there's resources out there. So yes, you may not have the bank paid off, or you may have other issues with your car or family stuff. You can still be happy in bits and spurts along the way too.
Yeah.
This is a very important point, Barry. I want to thank you for bringing that up. This is what a lot of people don't understand. You can have your problems and still be happy. Your problems don't have to disrupt you from being happy or peaceful or confident or anything. And yet most people think, well, if the bank is, knocking on my door, I got to be, destitute and desperate.
People often say, but a lot of times what people say, and I've had this with clients, you want to find the perfect partner, then I'll be happy. It's like, no, there is no there. Be happy now. So, and this thing is, and I know another one I've heard, another quote I love talking about, is be happy for no reason. Best way to live life.
I'm writing that down, man.
Well, and there's another saying, and that is happiness is a choice.
Yes.
Indeed. Yes.
But you know what? The other thing is happiness is contagious.
And there you go again.
It's really simple. And real quick, the guy did a safety seminar. It's called the Kung Fu Lender. And he said, if you face people as they're going to attack you, you may not think they're attacking you, but if you think they are, face them. Don't turn the other way. And it goes back to the other thing, like Barry had said. Fucking happiness is contagious, man. My biggest goal, or my team's biggest goal, if someone's in a bad mood, man, I love turning that shit. You turn them around, why are you unhappy? There's got to be a reason to be happy, and they always find a reason, but it takes, like everyone on here, it takes that mentor to take that person, find that person that's not happy, turn it. And what do? End of the day, 100%, they thank you for what you did.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love all of this because it is a choice. It's happiness is just, I wake up in the morning. I can choose. Am I going to try to have a great day or even just, am I going to feel grateful? Gratitude is a part of happiness. And happiness is also an action too.
And for ladies, it makes more wrinkles if you frown. So
that's right.
It's better to smile.
That's right. It takes 17 muscles to frown, but only 6 muscles to send somebody an emoji frowny face. So just do that from now on. But
there's the neurophysiological response to smiling. When you raise your lips up and your eyes open up and your eyebrows go up, you start to release the chemicals and hormones for feeling well-being and for feeling good and for feeling delighted. So the more that you do it, the more that you flood yourself with those good feelings. Mm-hmm. And so if you go, and then frown the rest of the day, you don't really get the benefit, because the more that you can become smiley, or the more that you can smile, the more you get bathed in the right kind of chemicals that make you feel good.
Same thing as if you stub your toe and you start smiling and go, oh, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, you redirect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Allen hasn't talked in a little bit. Neither has Kellen.
I was just thinking, and I'd like to hear a couple of the other people's thoughts on, we're talking about keeping a sense of humor. What about individuals that, well, that's just my humor. That's this, that's me having fun, when in reality, they're pretty cruel to others. And what they believe is humor is, always has to be cruelty or something towards someone else, but they think it's humor.
Or like being critical.
It can be critical, or just however, just people are like that, and they're just, well, that's my humor. And often it is critical, or putting someone else down, or being mean to others.
I think some people, the older generation learned that from comedy, because that's how comedy used to be back in the day.
Well, some comedy
was, so sarcasm is ripping type of humor. Yeah. So I'm just saying, so some people kind of.
So I'm from England. Sarcasm is my second language.
Yeah. And same thing for New Yorkers too. Like if you got picked on, if you got picked on in New York, it was considered they liked you. And I mean, it was sometimes picked on for whether it's your character flaws or whatever. So yeah, some of it was very harsh and whatnot.
Speaking to Alan's point, I said there's two things going on. One or two things likely going on with somebody who does that, being totally blissfully unaware of anybody else's feelings. Is either one, they want to be in control, or two, they're just totally unaware. Because most people tend to notice when somebody else takes offense or gets upset, and they go, whoa, hang on, let me back up. Awareness. Oh, yeah, I realized that didn't work, so I won't do that again. But some people keep doing that sort of stuff. They either, they get fueled out of it, like control, like I'm in charge, I can take care of this. Or they're just totally oblivious to other people. They don't even think about other people. That's probably the two most common reasons.
Or just like boys and girls when they're little. Boys would pick on girls because they liked them, but they were really picking on them for different things, when they were younger. And it just became a thing, I don't even know when or where that started, but that was a thing, growing up.
I think hurtful humor comes from a dark place, my opinion. I mean, we're not talking about like Don Rickles. Don Rickles was, you went to his if he didn't insult you, you walked away feeling less than. You wanted him to insult. It was part of the gig, and everybody was in on the joke. But what Alan's thought, I get what you're saying, Alan. When we're laughing at someone else's pain or someone else's discomfort, that's really, I agree with Barry. I mean, there's no empathy for their feelings. You're not connected to them, or you're just plain mean. It's the same people who believe that brutal honesty exists. You could be brutal or you could be honest. There is no such thing as brutal honesty. Honesty has nothing to do with being brutal, but people put it together so that they can say what they want to say and get away with it. It's the same people who say, you're an asshole, just saying. They think by saying just saying, it means, or
in my opinion, or it's just
in my opinion. Yeah.
Now, of course, it's your opinion.
They're being a bully.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's like, how redundant must you be? Of course, it's your opinion. Even if you stole it from someone else, you're expressing it.
It's a sense of being a bully,
I was being sarcastic.
I know you were being.
It
was in an authentic way.
Yes. You bully you.
But that kind of humor, that kind of hurtful humor, and it's not. It shouldn't even be called humor. I lack a better word for it. It's not sarcasm. It's sarcasm, but there's hurtful sarcasm.
One way or the other.
It's cowardice.
It's hurtful. And if I'm going to project hurtful things towards people, that can only come from me if I'm hurting inside. Hurtful stuff doesn't come from a healthy place.
Right.
Negative doesn't come from a positive place. So when people are doing that, I'm thinking like, wow, how do you feel about you to be projecting all of that outward and letting the whole world know what a jerk you are? How do you feel about you,
And that's the thing. People that are doing that couldn't handle it coming back to them.
Oh, hell no.
So,
no.
So, they're deflecting what they probably wouldn't want done to them. So
I think it's cowardice because they're hiding behind humor when they're really trying to be malicious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or they just need some sort of love, but they don't know how to ask for it properly.
Right. Right.
But you know what? Everything's going to come back to haunt you, and it's the old saying: vibe with your tribe. Hang out with people that are like you. You know what I mean? Hang out with people that are going to be positive. They're going to do it. Those other people you need to set straight because they're not going to succeed. It's really simple. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but at the same time, John, you don't want to leave people behind. You also want to invite them in and say, if you want to come and try it with us or hang with us, and maybe some of it will, I don't want to shut people off just because they're coming from a bad place, because I used to be in that bad place where I'd rather hit you with a baseball bat than look at you. I mean, that was where I lived for a long time. If somebody didn't invite me into a positive tribe, I never would have found all of this stuff.
You want them in the tribe, but believe me, I do not want you to hit me with a baseball bat. But you want those people to join you, and you give them enough options. You open up your arms, say, here what I have to give you. There's so many options to make you better than where you're at. And you never want to give up on anybody. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't get me wrong.
This is a question for the panel from Dan. I'm curious of the panel's idea when responding to brutal honesty or cutting humor of a bully. How do you respond to that, or should you respond to it, or let it lie? What should you do?
I don't engage.
I bring it up. I mean, I bring it up and say that I don't appreciate it or whatever. It just depends, an example or whatever. But yeah, I wouldn't. Like they say, if you got two, what's the quote right now? I'm gonna mess up the quote, but if you have two,
encourage yourself to
negatives don't make a positive.
What's that?
Two negatives don't make a positive.
Yeah, or you have two people, disagreeing, or they don't agree, and you got two idiots arguing. Who's the idiot?
Well,
I forget the saying, but
so better to remain silent and be thought the fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So
I know there's a horse in. I know there's a horse in one of these somewhere.
Yeah.
I think it really depends. It depends on the relationship you have with the person.
Yeah, right.
Because there are times where it's not worth engaging and completely ignoring it. If you have a relationship with a person, you may want to. When I was a mediator and I had a bully, I had to try to neutralize and do some power balancing to try to help them with the situation. So it really depends on the relationship, I think, that you have with the person doing that and what you want for an outcome. Do you want to bring them in and help them change? Or is this somebody you're never going to see again and it's not worth the time to even engage or do anything?
Right. Exactly.
Actually, that's what Alan said. That's the thing. About, for me, what it comes under is like, what's the intention?
Right.
So sometimes if somebody does that and I'm aware enough to catch it rather than getting reactive, it's like saying, so what is your intention behind that?
Right.
And what is it you really want to communicate? Because they may throw something out there.
Yeah.
But underneath it is just they're saying they're hurting and they don't want me to feel good because they feel like if I'm good, they feel worse.
Yeah.
Like, okay, great. Then I can work with that. But when they just throw shade for no reason.
Right, because if they're not open to change, or if it's not going to change anything, what's the point in bantering or talking about it if it's not going to change, if it's not going to make a difference?
Well, the other part also is we take things personally. That's one of the biggest strengths or gifts we get when we do the work.
Yeah,
we have less hooks on the outside to be pulled by other people, and we can be a little bit more self-respecting and self-supportive, so we don't take things personally.
Dan, you've been
Rex, I wanted to get Rex's idea on this about how to react or respond. Or if you can do it.
It's a hypothetical, and I don't discuss hypothetical.
Well, let's just say it might happen.
But let me add this. I mean, it's true because it's like trying to have a mock jury trial. It's okay, rehearse and practice skills so that you can do it. But the sad truth for most people is that they have like one or maybe two ways of doing things. We tend to get angry about lots of different things, but we get angry pretty much the same way. So there's like little anger and then there's like a lot of anger, or we tend to get confused the same way, but about different things. We don't, and there's a reason for that. When I say that, people go, whoa. Is you when you go, I'm getting angry now. How would you know that unless there were sequences that happened in your body that alerted you to the fact that I'm going into this emotional state right now, or I'm getting confused right now, or I'm feeling love or horny right now? With all due respect to Kellen. And
I knew you were gonna say
I'm holding a fish, and the
Yeah.
But I mean, all you have to do is go to a mall and you'll see somebody, go to the one locked door and go, what the hell is wrong with this door? It's like, well, the other one's open. They go, oh, okay. If what you're doing isn't working, you got to do anything else.
Yeah.
And what happens is people keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting the different result, which we know is the definition of insanity. So it's developing the behavioral flexibility and the repertoire and practicing these kinds of things in advance of needing them. This is the thing that people don't understand. There's a reason why you have fire drills, right? So that if there's a fire, people know what to do and do it. Now, there may be alternate routes or different things you have to do. You don't just, but at least they have a way out, So if you want to be able to be more effective with people, you want to practice different ways of being more effective with people and develop those skills so that you have a wider range of choices than just one or two.
Yeah.
But with that comes the time and the energy and the dedication to be willing to do that. And not everybody's willing to do that because a lot of people think I'm right and the world is wrong. Why, it's like the people who say everything tilted and all the nuts and bolts and flakes and everything ended up in California. Like they're bad, but I'm the sane one, And so until you understand that everybody approaches things from where they approach, they're stuck, however they're stuck, they're confused, however they're confused, they're angry, however they're angry, and understand how they do that to themselves, then you can help them get through those things. You can appeal to them. But
Rex, let me interrupt you for a second, just because some people might be going, this is all going like by me, because you're talking about things like practicing and taking it. What kind of, sitting back, maybe somebody's sitting there, they're listening and they're like, how do you practice communicating or doing that with people? Are you talking about looking for things that maybe you haven't done before or opportunities that maybe you haven't had before? Well, give us an example if you don't mind.
Well, I'm just going to say, there's a reason to do workshops and training programs and come in and have experience and exercises and trying things on that you don't normally try on. Women, better than men, go to, a mall, they go into the changing room and they try on a bunch of different outfits. They go, is this me? Is that me? No, that's not me. Oh, I like this. Or they go, well, I would never wear this, but what the hell? And they try it, where guys go, okay, is it the right color? No. Okay. Does it fit? Okay, great. I got a new pair of shoes and some slacks. It's a different, and I'm being stereotypical, but the point is there are places that you can go to get practice in communicating. When you're a debater, you practice debating. If you're a trial attorney, you practice having trials where you argue for your defendant or you argue as the plaintiff so that you gain expertise in that. So there are programs for communication or problem solving or negotiation or team building. As a trainer, for example, and this is a really kind of an important point that's lost on a lot of people. If you have 50 people in a room, they don't all learn at the same rate or at the same speed or at the same, and not everything that you're teaching or that they're interested in is there. They have come for different reasons. Some come to meet pretty girls or pretty guys. Some come to learn something. Some come because they're bored and they don't know what else to do. Some people come because they want to go, I know all this stuff and I'm the hot. There's all sorts of motives for being in a program. The goal of the trainer is to try and bring everybody together, put them in a boat so that the slowest learner sits in the same place with the fastest learner, and they paddle with their oars in the same direction so that they can get to their destination together. So you're not leaving one person behind or pushing the other person ahead. That requires that you practice that. You have to know how to communicate to different people and to find the student who's not doing things as quickly, and not say you're slow, but maybe they're methodical, or maybe the way they approach it is different, or they have certain steps that they require that need to be in place before where the other person is maybe more facile in that regard, or they skip steps, and so if you're a facilitator of a group, how do you get that experience? Doing it. And that's where practice comes in. And guess what you're going to do? Like the Wright brothers, you're going to fail a heck of a lot of time, but you're going to have to make adjustments, and you're going to have to change. And then as you do, you start developing sensibilities and awarenesses. You start recognizing patterns in people, and this person is like that person, so things start to come together for you. But it is about having the experience of it, not just reading a book about it or thinking about it. Is like being in the trenches.
Thank you, Rex. Two quick things I just want to point out. One is if people are going to those groups to meet other people, Callanan, that does not mean you bring a fish. All right. The other thing is
bring an octopus.
Guys are just brutal tonight.
Leave my Callanan alone.
Love you. John,
this is the quickest divorce ever.
I want to steal a John Horton moment with what you just said, Rex. Is that there are also opportunities in everyday communications, everyday moments where you can practice communicating and practice opening and listening and doing all those things. Standing in line at the supermarket, get off your phone, talk to the person who's checking you out, talk to the people in line when you're at the bank. When you walk outside, you see your neighbor doing their lawn, stop and talk for a minute. Take advantage of those things. I get just as much training from those as I do from a lot of other sources that I have. And, and it's also a way to, and that's why I'm saying steal John Horton's thunder, to spread kindness one person at a time, And so,
Scott, I just want to say before Dan Armstrong leaves, he's been a great narrator of comments and posting tonight. I really appreciate him. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you so much.
Dan is a good guy. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you so much. But you want to do a quick go around because we're almost out of time here?
Yeah, let's do a go around. Let's give Callanan a chance to start off with the go around first, though. She's been so good all show.
I know.
We picked on her a little bit here and there. So.
Hopefully we haven't picked on her that much.
I said, Rex, I said I was hungry, not horny.
Same thing, isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay. And you have a pencil there. Is it drinking?
No.
Oh.
I forgot my straw.
Can you write with a horse?
Okay. Can I have my thoughts now?
Listen, I'm sorry. I've reached an age where a really good creme brulee is about equal to a good night in bed. So I'm really fine with it. Hungry, horny, doesn't matter.
No, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Okay, I have two things.
I'm not going to leave it in my pastry shop.
Back to John, which is smiling. Can I talk?
Yes, please.
She heard the floor, baby. Go ahead.
No, I consider a smile a pay it forward. Because I love smiling and seeing people smile back. And, you don't have to buy coffee. I love smiling and having people smile back to me. So that's the one point I wanted to make. The second one is I want to explain how easy my life is now that, since I started laughing at myself instead of beating myself up for doing silly or dumb or making mistakes. And because, I think it's like middle school, high school, you start wanting to be so, your hair has to be perfect. You have to say the right things. You have to be with the right people. And once I figured out that was just a bunch of bull, and I allowed myself to do what I wanted, make mistakes, laugh hilariously at myself, my life has become so much easier and more enjoyable. So that's all I have.
Aw, and thank you, Dan, for the nice words here.
Aw.
You want to read that, Scott?
Dan says, you guys are inspirational, totally diversive, funny, educational. Thank you for letting me crash the party, Rex.
Oh, thank you. And Rex gets the prize. He's the only one that shared his links up on top here. So thank you, Rex. You get a prize for that later. All right.
And Callan, your smile goes a long way, darling.
Yes, and we love you being here. Yes, I love her so much. Thank you, sister. Mr. John.
Yeah, just a couple things I took from tonight, and it literally was stick it out and stay it out. Man, stick it out. Be consistent on what you do. Reach out to someone you don't know. I know Scott just brought that up. It is amazing the results you can get when you send a quick, positive note to someone you either met or you don't know. And it's so goddamn simple, man. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. I just don't get it. I mean, I do this stuff and I hold my team meetings and I'm like, reach out to people, give them a compliment. Compliments. No one gets compliments. Nobody at all.
Yeah.
They don't.
Well, we appreciate you.
Here's my pen. Here's what I'm doing tonight. Handwritten notes to people. You know what that will do? Not only for your own mindset, but for your business. God damn it. It's rockets. Okay. Thank you.
There you go.
Right.
I do that every Monday.
But you know what, Lynn? You and Scott doing this brings that to the next level. So I am now giving you a gratitude. Thank you for being part of my life. Thank you for doing this. Everyone on here. It's not, you know what the new show is? It's not fucking rocket science. That's the new show name. Thank you all.
I love it. Not fucking rocket science with John Horton.
There you go. That's
Put me
right.
on there, man. I'm on, brother. But thank you all for everything you do, because I bring this into my week with my team, literally talking about what we do. And I know a couple of guys were on here, especially the guy that loves me, but it's really not difficult. It's write the fucking shit down, man, and send them a note. I'm done.
Amen, brother.
Yay.
He went
Mr.
right
Barry-
into Lewis Black there, man. That was good.
I'm done.
Mr.
Thank
Barry
you all for
Selby.
everything.
Barry.
So John, you're going to give us credit when you talk to your people about us? I hope so.
Yeah.
Absolutely, all the time.
John, great advice. Barry loved the glasses. Alan,
Dan.
Kellen, Lynn, Scott. Thank you, Dan. You're awesome.
To Dan.
Real quick, one of the biggest things I think we talked about in this place, especially when people are not being naturally happy, is to make the change. To be aware, but two, to change how you do things, because nobody is stuck. You can make a change. It just brought up a really old bad light bulb joke. Like how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? One. But the light bulb has to want to change.
Yes.
Is that you got to be willing to change. You can't just go, well, I'm going to change. It's that you can't change, and that's the other thing you said earlier. You can't change other people. So way back to what Alan said about when somebody comes in and just pushes through, they may want to convince people to change, but it doesn't work that way.
That's right.
So you want to keep your sense of humor. Just don't be so attached to fixing other people. Work on yourself.
Oh, I love it, Barry. Thank you. I missed you when you weren't here, Barry. Love you and appreciate you.
Glad to be back.
Good.
I missed you too.
Oh,
And Alan?
I think I'd just like to go back a little bit when you were talking about practicing, and a place to practice. Life is practice.
Yes.
We practice all the time, and we can practice anything we want to be better. When I was writing a negotiation column for the Montana Lawyer, I used to go out to stores and different businesses and practice little negotiation techniques to give me something to go write about. If you want to practice love techniques and romance, go out and meet people and practice flirting, practice humor, practice life. I mean, that's what we do. And so if there's something you want to be better at, go out and practice. I live in a foreign country, practice the language with the natives and the people there. They appreciate it. Now, will sometimes you fail and fall on your face and be embarrassed or something? Probably, but that's life. And then have that sense of humor and drive on and keep it up.
I love it, Alan. Thank you so much for keep coming back. Scott, we doing something right. He keeps coming back.
I know. I know.
Scott.
NBC still has not programmed anything worth watching on Tuesday nights.
Thank you, Kellen. Thank you so much, sister.
I'm going to give you all a lesson.
All right.
Rex.
Mr. Rex.
Well, agreed. I mean, life is to practice, and to practice everywhere. One of the things that I would encourage people to practice is noticing without judging, and observing and becoming aware of people. People are habitual and they're patterned, and We know them from their patterns. We know them from their behaviors, from their mindset, from their beliefs, from how they act. You can predict, if you know what to pay attention to, whether a person is going to make a choice this way or that way with bankable accuracy, because I mean, that's the study of people and what they do and how they decide. And if you understand those parameters, or you paid enough attention to people, then you can say, you know, in all likelihood, this is what they're going to do. Now, the point of the thing is that you need to be willing to let go of what they choose, unless you have a stake in it. You know, in other words, if I say you want red or black, and they go black, okay. You know, I mean, why should I say no? You need to choose red. You know, it's their choice. If you're saying it's your choice, then let them choose. So what would really be useful for people is go sit in parks, you know, on a bench, go, you know, and just watch people and watch how they behave and watch how people interact and watch how couples talk at a restaurant. The guy sitting there falling asleep and the woman's talking his head off, or, you know, she's like, oh, well, you know, I got this. And he's like, you know. You know, and just observe it and notice, what do you think the degree of rapport is? What do you think, you know, who's doing the most work, without it being she's right and he's wrong, or he's right and she's wrong. You know, just start to observe how people behave and notice what people do. And then you'll start to also begin to notice some of the things that you do that you may not be aware of. But observation or awareness comes through practice. That's what I hate the name, because it's a brand, but mindfulness, it's just meditation. It's awareness. It's that somebody said, well, we're going to call it that. And now it's become a franchise, but the practice of it, the point of it, the purpose of it is incredible, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. And that's to bring more awareness to your experience, whether you're eating a raisin, or whether you're making love, or whether you're, you know, sitting out and watching something. So bring more awareness to, you can practice awareness wherever you are. You can practice noticing things about other people and yourself wherever. You got 24 hours a day where you could do that if you wanted to.
Love that.
So many valid points here. As always, this is amazing shows. I can't wait till I start clipping some of this stuff, because it's just so many nuggets. I love it. Scott, do you have
nuggets that John was talking about getting hit in earlier?
Yeah.
I'm sure he was going to slam me again.
Yeah.
We'll go right back up to Kellen. Oh, right back up to Kellen.
Well, Scott.
You know, again, you guys always bring it. You bring great perspective to ideas. You bring humor. You bring yourselves. And the cool thing is that we all live such really different lives, even though some of us have some similar missions, our approaches, the way we do things, and all that stuff. And look what happens when we bring people together who are willing to listen to each other, share ideas, the amazing things that come out of here. I don't know about the rest of you guys. I walked away from here feeling like, you know, like I just had therapy. It's just like it not therapy in that way that I need more than anything else. But just
perspective.
It's therapeutic. It's perspective. It lends itself to so much, and that's part of just not being so serious and just opening up, you know, and realizing I have thought this way my whole life. This person has thought that way their whole life. There's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason. It doesn't mean I'm right and he's wrong. It can't be that simple. It's got to be much more complicated. It's got to be about the journey and my perspective and this and that. And you get to learn so much, and we get to grow from each other. You know, and laughing along the way. Kellen, you're right. Life gets easy when you can just laugh. It really gets easy. There's enough reasons to cry. There's enough things going on. Again, our prayers and thoughts go out to the people in Israel right now and everything that's going on over there, as well as the continuing battles in Ukraine, all the things going on in this world. We need to be able to uplift each other with a smile, with a happy thought, with a gratitude. You know, that's what we need. So God bless you guys for bringing that today. I appreciate all of you.
Life is made up of happy moments and happy endings.
Okay. That's a whole other show, Rex. That's a whole other show.
Okay. And we better
Which is illegal in Miami.
We better go before somebody scans Barry's thing and find out they're going to a different site. So we better go.
This is therapy, but better.
Yes. Thank you guys. Love you guys and hope to see you guys next week.
Thanks,
Have a
ladies
safe
and
one.
God bless
Take
you all.
care. Thanks. Bye.
Keeping me safe and sound.